Hey everyone, as you know, in the month of July, two superhero blockbuster movies came out, Superman Legacy and Fantastic Four First Steps. And they were both kind of like people were skeptical about both these films before they came out, saying that if they're bad for either or, it could tank the studios like DC and Marvel, depending on. So both these movies had a lot of pressure to make one, a lot of money, and two, just be good, This is the first DC film for James Gunn, really, at all, and hopefully a revitalization of the DC universe. And for Marvel, it's on a trend of a bunch of bad movies now, albeit Thunderbolts wasn't bad, but it was on the backs of a lot of underwhelming Phase 4, I believe this was, or was this Phase 5? I can't keep up with it anymore. Very underwhelming, though. So these movies needed to be good, and I'm happy to tell you that both of these films are pretty good. I actually loved both of them for different reasons, though. Now, the question you're actually all here for isn't, are these films good? Because by now, I'm sure you actually know which are good or which are not. And everyone probably on the internet are going to tell you, for the most part, these are pretty good films. These are films that are good. And these are films that both these studios really needed at a time like this. So, yeah, they're both good films. But the question now is, which of the two films were better? What is the better July superhero film? Superman Legacy or Fantastic Four First Steps? That's kind of the question I want to answer today. But before we get into it, if you haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing down below so you don't miss out on any new content if you really want to, or if you don't, just enjoy the video. And before we get into it, obviously this is spoiler alerts because I'm going to be talking about some of the films a little bit. If you haven't seen it, just consider this your warning, and let's get into it. To start, I watched Superman on July 11th, and I was really, really happy with coming out of the theater, the feeling I had, just the euphoric, like, apathy, like the appetite, sorry, not apathy, appetite for good content again. The Superman movie didn't feel bad. In fact, I couldn't point out many bad parts of the film. There was not really any pacing issues either. The pacing felt consistent, and it was moving pretty consistently fast the entire time. Never felt like I was dragging, rewatching any of the same films before. Spoiler alert here: they didn't go over his origin story like in depth. They kind of do like a flashback or two of it every once in a while, but it's not overbearing. And in fact, it's perfect. I think I kind of love how Superman was different. This Superman was different fundamentally than most other Supermen, in his reasons and merits to do the things he does to be a good person. And then when it comes out later, eventually, that his parents actually allegedly are genocidal maniacs, how he still refuses those actions because he is a good person thanks to his actual parents, you can call them. So I really like that. I love the side characters. That's the biggest thing I'm gonna say different in this for the Fantastic Four. The side characters make the film. Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner, make the film better. Hawkgirl, Lex Luthor, master class. Oh my god, the side characters for Superman Legacy just make the film better. There's a good film here, and it's what you have here. Superman, if it was just David Cornsweat Superman playing, you have it right here. It's a good film. But you have Lex Luthor, you have Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner, Crypto even. It's off the screen, that's how good it was. That's kind of what's making this movie so good. It's a good cohesion of characters and not just a Superman movie, which we're all kind of tired of. We don't just want a Superman movie. We want to see some good stuff, some interesting stuff, and this movie was no short of good stuff. In contrast, however, the Fantastic Four movie was good for different reasons, where it also started off similar to, the Fantastic Four, basically. They'll chop up the origin story in like a 2 or 3 brief minute recap, even for the television program, kind of how the original comics portrayed them as. And that's pretty nice, actually. I kind of like that touch. It's a very simple, easy way to do it. It lets them go pretty fast into the story, right? You just go from one to the next to the next. You don't really waste any time. And that's kind of what this movie needed, considering it was a 1 hour and 55-minute movie for some reason. They cut like, what, 20 minutes of film off? It felt like it kind of could use that at some points, but that's beside the point. It felt good to start, and there was not much dragging in the beginning. In fact, the beginning was straight to action, straight push, straight go. There was no breaks, all gas, right? In the second half, it kind of slowed down a bit, which is usually not how it works. But I feel like in this film, it specifically works okay that way. It actually works pretty well that way, I'd say. However, I think Superman's pacing was superior, like by far. At no point did it feel like we're here. Oh, but now we're all over here, and now everything's happening. We see a conclusive point A to point B every time, while in Fantastic Four, you're not always going to see it, but to be fair, a lot of the point A to point B is just travel. It's just like nonsense we don't really want to see. So I understand that, right? We understand that. The parts we do see are incredible. And what this movie did better than Superman is certainly the CGI, the effects, everything you see on the screen, it looks better. Now, not to say Superman's look bad, but they have so many unique and cool effects, like black hole effects, wormhole effects. You have so many cool effects that you see in this Marvel film that you don't see in Superman, that you see actually kind of somewhat in Superman, but not to the extent. And that's fair because Marvel's got the bigger budget. This movie had a bigger budget. Let's be honest. This movie had a bigger budget. And what this movie kind of lacks, though, is side characters. While the Superman movie really elevated itself with side characters, this movie certainly did not elevate itself with side characters. There was one, two, three. No, because Shalabal is a main villain. She's technically a main villain. So there's like two side characters and Herbie, if you consider him. He's not a real person. He's a robot. He's not a real person. So there's like three side characters you can really care about, right? There's not many. You don't really get emotional attachment to any of the side characters. It's just the four. And that's all it's advertised to be. Well, that's fine. That's good. I think every one of the four actually do a great job in their respective role. I know people were skeptical, especially about like a Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, but I think he did pretty solid, right? We could admit now he did pretty good. Pedro, we love you around here, but you did good as Mr. Fantastic. Joseph Quinn, I surprisingly really like Joseph Quinn's Johnny Storm. It's a little different than the Chris Evans, like super charismatic. You see woman, you sleep with woman. It's very different. He's more family oriented. He's actually really smart in this too, and I really like seeing that side of Johnny Storm, because they do bring up that he likes women, and he like Shia LaBeouf is one of the great examples of someone he's interested in. But they do show that he's like actually like a genius. He's not just there on the ship the first time because he's like Sue Storm's brother or something. No, he's actually a genius. Chris Evans didn't really portray the genius, and not to his fault because it's Chris fucking Evans. You get Chris Evans, you make him charismatic, you make him a ladies' man. Come on. But Joseph Quinn, he can also play that role, but he did such a great job being a family first type of person and being a genius, really, someone who's able to decipher a unknown language in just the span of what, a few weeks or a month. It's pretty good to see. It's pretty nice to see. I love Ben. Ben was funny. I actually think they used his powers in somewhat unique ways. They also showed him growing a beard. I think that's kind of funny. I don't think I've ever seen I've seen the thing with the beard once, but it was in a comic run where he's like thousands of years in the future. But that was kind of cool to see him with the beard. Sue Storm was great. I think actually her powers at the very end were really unique. Franklin Richards' plot was fine. It was fine. Galactus wants it. Galactus, shocker. Galactus looked great. Can we say that? Galactus looked great. I'm kind of just sucking this dick's movie of what it does well, but that's because there's only the 5 or 6 characters you have to care about. There's not much else. The plot's fine, right? The plot makes sense. I mean, what more from a plot can you ask with Galactus? And I kind of wish they did the ultimate nullifier plot. That'd have been kind of cool, right? You scare him off with a nullifier. You say, hey, get back, or we're gonna nullify you. We're gonna literally erase you from existence and restart the universe like that without you. I kind of wish they did that, right? But I mean, they're not required to do that plot. I mean, I kind of like what they did. They teleported him away. The Shalabal sacrificed herself as well to knock Galactus in. I think that was pretty cool. Sorry, that's a spoiler, by the way. I'll say this now. This entire video is a spoiler alert, if you couldn't tell. This is definitely a spoiler video. Uh, I kind of like it. Now, I haven't seen the end credits for Superman, and I've only seen one for Fantastic Four. The one I saw for Fantastic Four is kind of exciting because it's Doctor Doom, like holding Franklin Richard. I think that's pretty exciting, right? I mean, it's kind of setting up Secret War. I mean, we're all kind of waiting to see what that's going to be like, right? They haven't even finished the script, and it's supposed to come out next year, like in 7 months. I'm kind of scared. But that's beside the point because I think this movie is still good. Now, I think a few more characters could have made this movie that much better, but still good. Now, where I mainly differentiate them in rankings is how much I kind of enjoyed watching and how much it really made sense in my head, right? So the Fantastic Four made a lot of sense. It's a standalone film. It has nothing to do with the original 616 continuity that we see at all the other MCU projects, and nothing to do with it, right? So it made sense. It was standalone. It was kind of old Earth, maybe the 70s or 80s style Earth, whenever it was. It fit the time, and because it was not tied down to the other MCU timeline restrictions, it didn't feel like a drag. We're trying to uphold some standards, and that's why I think it was pretty good. Now, if I had to rate it, 8. It'd be an 8 out of 10. Now, in comparison to the Superman movie, this was also a movie that had no tie downs, no follow ups except for Peacemaker. But I love Peacemaker. I love John Cena as Peacemaker. that's a good decision, and that's a great tie down there. So that's not going to get a negative rating. That's going to get plus points for me. Tying people from Peacemaker and Creature Commandos in is a great tie-in. And James Gunn's already starting off well with this. But just as the Superman film itself, it certainly does itself well by making Corn Sweat seem like a realistic Superman, and for the little we see of him, a pretty good Clark Kent too. Now I hope to see more of Clark Kent in the future. Who knows? It's not a Clark Kent movie; it's a Superman movie. That's what we're here for. But Lois Lane, I actually felt the chemistry of him, of Superman and Lois Lane, way more in this film. Jimmy Olsen, he's cool as fuck. Jimmy Olsen's cool. We love cool Jimmy Olsen. That's awesome. Perry White, Perry White would smoke a cigar if the world was ending. He loves the aura farm. Call him the Piccolo of aura farming, man. That's just ridiculous. The Piccolo of the DC, ridiculous. Lex Luthor might be my favorite villain of the year. I've watched Sinners. I loved Sinners. Sinners has some of the best like villains technically as vampires, but I think Lex Luthor might be the best villain of the year, and that's hard to do. And the other side characters are actually very impressive and unique. Again, Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, I love the casting. I absolutely love it. Again, Mr. Terrific stole the show. Like I said, just fantastic work. When they're on the screen, I am almost more locked in than I am when Superman or Crypto are on the screen. So, with that being said, this movie's gonna get an 8.9 because I really like the movie, but there were some times where I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, I guess plot convenience, right? Whatever, right? It is what it is. But there's both great movies, and I would recommend you watch both of them. Just telling you now, I think Superman is better, but you might not think so. My brother thought Fantastic Four was better, to which I instantly denied and threw him at the car before we got home. And well, I guess we don't know where he is now. Anyways, that's probably going to finish up this comparison video. If you're new to the channel, like I said earlier, consider subscribing down below. And everyone have a good day. Bye bye.